Hello and happy holidays everyone. A while back, I made a video going over the first beta of Hello Neighbor, and, in short, it sucked. Though, I've gotten many comments on that video, saying that I was treating it too harshly, or that I complained about pointless things. Okay then, if you guys want me to prove you wrong that bad, let's have a competition. Today, I'll be doing a regular playthrough of Beta 1, along with another two of the most hated versions, Alphas 3 and 4. During the playthrough, I'm going to give each version plus 1 point for something that feels correctly done at that stage in development, but minus 1 point for each aspect of the game that feels like it's too underdeveloped or confusing in a normal playthrough. I hope that makes sense, and if not, I'm sure you'll pick it up along the way. Without further ado, I hope you enjoy and let's get judging. Starting off, as you can see, it is very dark. Most people would dislike this, but I personally really like the perpetual night in Alpha 3. It makes it feel more like a proper invasion, and it adds a lot to the atmosphere. You also can find a flashlight quite easily, making the night even less of a hindrance. The hint for getting the electromagnet is actually really good. You have to think about it a little, but once you do, it's super satisfying, and it makes sense. This jump is absurdly difficult if you don't know the right technique. I can guarantee hundreds, if not thousands of people got stuck here, struggling. This Parker section is neat, but also really buggy and difficult. The traps the neighbor places in this version are to such a precise amount that it just works. Plus, the nighttime makes them harder to see, actually making them dangerous. Seeing the gun behind the gate makes the player actually curious on how they could get in, pushing them to find the hidden route through their own exploration. Very well designed. The basement is cryptic enough that despite it being a bit of a letdown, it is actually kind of exciting. Also, seeing the thing through the door and half of the code can really pique the player's curiosity. I also have to award a point for the yellow key route. It's fun, hidden, and encourages exploration. Very well done. Off to a bad start. This cutscene is about 50 seconds long and is completely unskippable. Considering Alpha 3 had a skippable opening cutscene, I have to deduct a point here. Despite it being quite buggy, the elevator puzzle is fun and rewarding. Good design. Seriously? I would say the gun's placement in this version is too basic, but in Alpha 4 these rooms weren't actually necessary and were quite hidden, so it's fine. I will add a point on 4 having Aaron's eyes here. Fun small details like this are what made the early versions of HN so exciting to uncover the lore of. The crowbar puzzle. I would love to add a point on for this being quite a logical puzzle, which is what HN was all about back then, but also the fact this doesn't work, but that same water in a watering can does is annoying to say the least. I won't add or deduct points, these two cancel each other out. They added a ledge. Hell yeah. Having to use the train to get up to the roof is another puzzle that is all about logic and thinking outside the box. Despite the ladder not being there until full game, it's still a fun puzzle that Alpha 4 introduced. Also, I was originally going to deduct a point for how difficult Fear School is. However, whether this was intended or not, Fear School in this version is actually not required to beat the game at all. The neighbor doesn't forcefully grab you in the basement, like in the full game, which means that more skilled players can do Fear School and have it a bit easier, yet still having the game be beatable by those less skilled. Amazing game design. Now, Fear Darkness. Unfortunately, I have to deduct a point here. Since this was a very early version, many jumps are much more difficult than they should realistically be, textures are missing, and you can skip a large portion accidentally through the toaster. Also, I managed to beat Fear School with a double jump to help. I won't deduct or add a point, but this is more proof this version was very friendly to many skill levels. The basement isn't anything special, and it set an alright baseline considering it was the first ever proper basement we got. Beta 1 has the same problem as Alpha 4, a somewhat long and skippable cutscene. However, this one is actually interesting and provides a sense of mystery, so I won't deduct nor give points. And straight off the bat, I'm just gonna give 2 points for free to Beta 1. It's gonna need them. Instructions unclear. Dick stuck in door. Yeah, I wouldn't deduct a point for the completely wrong tutorial markers, but it happens multiple times. Be grateful I only deduct 1 point for this. This cutscene is paced awfully, but then again there were similar ones in Alpha 3 and 4, so I guess it's only fair I don't deduct a point. A correct tutorial marker. I'm amazed. Okay, that jump was sick. Beta 1 gets a point for this whole tutorial sequence, as it is genuinely really cool, and sadly got kinda downgraded in Beta 3. Beta 1 is going off to a strong start. Surely it can't get much worse, right? Yeah, no. Let's just quickly list off everything wrong with Beta 1. The elevator ladder frequently shoves you down into the ground when trying to go through the train station door. This room's textures still aren't fixed. They didn't even try to make an interesting reward for the day/night door puzzle, instead giving you a full game release date, which is wrong. If you know, you know. It is absurdly difficult to get into Fear Darkness, and even when you succeed it literally doesn't work as there is no player model. A feature which worked in Alpha 4. They couldn't have made the basement that bad, right?